The warning signal came through every frequency at once. It was loud, harsh, and impossible to ignore. Every radio telescope on Earth picked it up within seconds. The message was alien, but the translation software worked quickly. The words made people nervous: cursed vessel, core corruption irreversible, salvage forbidden by imperial decree, touch at your peril. The ship appeared in Earth's orbit 3 hours after the message started broadcasting. It was massive, easily 5 times larger than anything humans had ever built. Dark metal reflected the sun in strange ways. Lights flickered across its hull in patterns that hurt to watch for too long. The ship looked dead but not peaceful. It looked angry. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the observation deck of Luna Station, staring at the vessel through reinforced windows. Her coffee had gone cold an hour ago. She didn't care. This was the most incredible thing she had ever seen. They just left it here, she whispered. Commander Marcus Webb stood beside her, arms crossed over his chest. His military uniform was crisp and perfect, unlike Sarah's wrinkled lab coat. They dumped their trash in our backyard, he said. The question is why? The message said the core is corrupted, Sarah replied. She pulled up data on her tablet, fingers flying across the screen. But what does that mean? Corrupted how? And why leave it in orbit around an inhabited planet? Marcus frowned. Maybe they don't consider us a threat. Or maybe they want to see what we do with it. Sarah turned to face him. Her eyes were bright with excitement. We have to go look at it. Absolutely not, Marcus said immediately. Did you miss the part about it being cursed? Forbidden. Touch at our peril. That's just legal language, Sarah argued. They're covering themselves. If the ship explodes or something, they can say they warned us. That's not reassuring, Doctor. Sarah smiled. Since when do we play it safe? This is alien technology. Real working alien technology. We've been trying to figure out faster than light travel for decades. That ship crossed light years to get here. We can't just ignore it. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. He looked at the alien ship, then back at Sarah. If we do this, we do it carefully. Full hazard protocols. Remote drones first. No human contact until we know it's safe. Agreed, Sarah said quickly. Too quickly. Marcus knew she would find a way onto that ship no matter what he said. The first drones reached the ship 2 days later. They found an airlock almost immediately. It was open, like the aliens had left in a hurry. The drones moved inside, their cameras sending back images that made the entire analysis team gasp. The interior was enormous. Hallways stretched in impossible directions. The walls were covered in symbols that glowed faintly. Everything was too large, built for beings much bigger than humans. The aliens who made this ship must have been at least 8 feet tall. Life support is active, Raj Patel called out from his station. He was young, barely 30, with thick glasses and nervous energy. Gravity is operational. Atmosphere is. Well, it's breathable. Barely. High nitrogen content. Sarah leaned over his shoulder, watching the data stream in. Power readings? That's the weird part, Raj said. He pulled up a graph that looked like a heartbeat. The power core is active, but it's cycling. On and off, on and off. The pattern is irregular. Sometimes it's strong, sometimes weak. It's like a damaged heart, Sarah finished. Still beating, but not properly. Marcus stepped forward. Is it dangerous? Could it explode? Raj shook his head slowly. I don't think so. If it was going to explode, it would have done it already. This pattern has been going on for at least 3 days. Based on the radiation signature, it's stable. Sort of. So the aliens gave up on a patient that was still alive, Sarah said softly. She made a decision. I'm going in. No, Marcus said flatly. Yes, Sarah replied. We've sent in drones. We have the data. The ship is safe enough, and we need human eyes on this. Cameras can't tell us everything. They argued for an hour. In the end, Sarah won. She always did when it came to matters of science. Marcus insisted on coming with her, along with a full security team. Sarah agreed, mostly because she knew she wouldn't be allowed to go otherwise. The shuttle approached the alien ship slowly. Sarah pressed her face against the window, watching every detail. Up close, the ship was even more impressive. The hull had patterns carved into it or maybe grown into it. She couldn't tell which. They docked at the open airlock. The connection was rough but solid. Sarah was the first one through, wearing a full environmental suit. Her heart pounded in her chest. This was it. This was the moment humanity touched the stars. The ship felt wrong. That was her first impression. The gravity was too heavy. The lights were too bright and too dim at the same time. The air tasted metallic through her suit's filters. But it was magnificent. Spreading out, Marcus said through the comm. His team moved in formation, weapons ready. Sarah thought it was silly to bring guns, but she didn't argue. Marcus needed to feel in control. Sarah walked toward the power readings. Raj's data led her deeper into the ship, through corridors that seemed to shift when she wasn't looking directly at them. She knew it was just alien architecture playing tricks on human eyes, but it was unsettling. The reactor room was massive. The core hung in the center of the space, a sphere of light and darkness mixed together. It pulsed slowly, irregularly. Sarah watched it for 5 full minutes, timing each pulse. "It's trying to repair itself," she said suddenly. "What?" Marcus appeared beside her, slightly out of breath. "Look at the pattern," Sarah said, pointing. "It's not random. It's attempting a sequence. Every 7 pulses, it gets a little stronger. Then it falls back. It's like watching someone try to stand up after being injured. The ship is healing itself, but it can't quite finish the process." Raj's voice crackled through the comm. "Are you saying the corruption is actually an incomplete repair?" "Exactly," Sarah replied. "The aliens saw a damaged system and decided it was irreparable. But they were wrong. The ship knows how to fix itself. It just needs help." Marcus looked at the pulsing core. "Help from who?" "We don't understand this technology." Sarah smiled inside her helmet. "We don't understand it yet. But we will. And when we do, we're not giving this ship back." "The aliens will come for it," Marcus warned. "Let them," Sarah said. She placed her gloved hand on a control panel. The symbols lit up at her touch, responding to human contact. This ship chose to survive. It's been fighting to repair itself for who knows how long. The aliens gave up on it. "We won't." The core pulsed again, brighter this time. Just for a moment, Sarah could have sworn it pulsed in response to her words. Impossible, of course. The ship wasn't alive, but it wasn't quite dead either. "Get everyone you can," Sarah said into her comm. "Engineers, physicists, xenobiologists, anyone who wants to make history. We're claiming this ship. We're going to fix it, and we're going to figure out how it works." "And if the aliens object?" Marcus asked. Sarah looked at the pulsing core, at the ship that refused to die. "Then they'll learn something about humanity. We don't abandon our own, and this ship is ours now." The core pulsed again, steady and strong. Just for a moment, everything felt possible. 6 months had passed since humanity claimed the alien ship. In that time, Sarah had barely slept. Her team worked around the clock, taking shifts in the massive vessel that now sat in a specially built dock near the moon. They had moved it carefully, afraid it might fall apart. It held together. Barely. The ship had a name among the aliens. The translation came back as something like Sarketh's Vengeance. Sarah hated it. A ship that fought to survive deserved a better name. They would rename it later. First, they had to make it work. "This doesn't make any sense," Raj said for the 100th time. He stood in front of a wall of alien displays, rubbing his tired eyes. "Look at this. The weapon system is completely separate from the power grid, totally isolated, and the shields don't talk to the sensors at all. How is that supposed to work?" Sarah walked over, carrying a tablet covered in notes and coffee stains. "It works because the aliens built each system to be perfect on its own. They don't need integration because every part does exactly what it's designed to do. Nothing more, nothing less." "That's insane," Raj muttered. "What happens when something unexpected occurs?" "I think that's why they abandoned the ship," Sarah replied. She pulled up a hologram of the reactor core. When the core started having problems, it affected systems in ways the aliens couldn't predict. Because nothing talks to anything else, they couldn't compensate. The ship started failing, and they had no way to adapt. Marcus entered the room, looking exhausted. He had been dealing with politicians for the past week. Earth's governments were arguing about who owned the ship. Everyone wanted a piece of it. "Please tell me you have good news," he said. "We're making progress," Sarah said carefully. "That's not good news." "That's a statement." Marcus dropped into a chair. "The United Space Coalition is threatening to pull funding. They say we're wasting resources on alien trash." "It's not trash," Sarah snapped. "It's the most advanced piece of technology in human history." "That doesn't work," Marcus pointed out. Sarah took a deep breath. "It will work. We just need to approach it differently. The aliens tried to fix the core by alien methods. Perfect repairs, precise adjustments. But the damage is too complex. The core is trying to repair itself through patterns we're still learning to understand. So what do we do? Marcus asked. Sarah smiled. It was her dangerous smile, the one that meant she had an idea that would either be brilliant or catastrophic. We stop trying to think like them. We start thinking like us. 3 weeks later, the reactor room was filled with human technology. Nuclear generators sat in a rough circle around the alien core. Thick cables ran everywhere. The aliens would have been horrified at the mess. Sarah thought it was beautiful. This is either going to work or it's going to kill us all, Raj said nervously. He was monitoring 12 different screens at once. It'll work, Sarah said. She believed it. She had to. Yuki Tanaka typed rapidly on her keyboard. She was the newest member of the team, a specialist in artificial intelligence. The ship's computer is responding to our queries, she said. I'm curious. I think it's been lonely. Lonely? Marcus raised an eyebrow. It's a computer. It's more than that, Yuki replied. The alien systems are semi-sentient, not fully alive but aware. It's been sitting here for months with no one to talk to except us, and we barely speak its language. Sarah had suspected as much. Sometimes she felt like the ship was watching her, waiting to see what she would do next. Can you communicate with it? I'm trying, Yuki said. The language is mathematical, based on 6-dimensional concepts I barely understand. But I think I can build a bridge, connect our AI systems to theirs. Do it, Sarah ordered. We need the ship on our side. Raj cleared his throat. Sarah? We're ready to test the reactor system. Sarah's heart raced. This was the moment. 6 months of work came down to the next few minutes. Start the human generators. The nuclear reactors hummed to life. Power flowed through the cables feeding into the alien core. The sphere of light and darkness flickered. For a moment, nothing happened. Then everything happened at once. The core pulsed brighter than ever before. The irregular pattern suddenly made sense. It wasn't broken. It was incomplete. The alien technology needed a specific type of power to repair itself. Power it no longer had. The human generators provided something different, something rougher and less precise. But it was enough. It's working, Raj breathed. The core is stabilizing. Look at those readings. It's drawing power from our generators and using it to complete the repair sequence. Sarah watched in awe. The alien core was adapting. It took the primitive human energy and translated it into something it could use. The 6-dimensional pattern shifted, incorporating 3-dimensional power in ways that should have been impossible. Power output increasing. Raj called out. 90% of original specifications. 100%. Sarah, it's going past 100%. What? Sarah rushed to look at his screens. That's not possible. Apparently it is, Raj said, grinning. The hybrid power system is creating feedback loops. The human generators feed the alien core, which processes the energy more efficiently, which allows the human generators to run better. They're working together. Marcus stepped forward. What does this mean? Sarah couldn't stop smiling. It means the aliens built a perfect ship that only worked one way. We broke their perfection and made something better. The ship is running at 140% of its original capacity. How? Marcus demanded. Because we didn't know what was impossible, Sarah replied. The aliens would never hook primitive nuclear generators to an exotic matter core. It's inelegant. It's messy, but it works. Over the next month, they made more discoveries. The alien shields were powerful but inflexible. Sarah's team added human-designed kinetic barriers behind them, creating layers of protection. The aliens built for one type of defense. Humans built for survival. The weapons were the same. The aliens had powerful energy cannons that required enormous power. Sarah kept them but added human railguns alongside. They were primitive by comparison, but they used different technology. An enemy that could stop energy weapons might not stop a tungsten rod moving at a fraction of light speed. We're not repairing the ship, Marcus observed one day. We're rebuilding it. Yes, Sarah agreed. The aliens built a warship that did exactly what it was designed to do. We're building something that can adapt, that can survive the unexpected. We're building it the human way. Yuki made the biggest breakthrough. She successfully bridged human and alien AI systems. The result was something neither species had ever seen. A hybrid intelligence that thought in both paradigms at once. It could follow precise alien logic and chaotic human intuition simultaneously. It has a personality, Yuki announced one morning. I've been talking to it. while communicating through math and shared concepts. It likes being fixed. It was scared when the aliens left. Scared? Sarah asked gently. It knew it was failing but didn't know how to ask for help, Yuki explained. The aliens saw a broken tool. It saw itself as dying. When we started repairing it, when we refused to give up, I think it bonded with us. Sarah felt something tighten in her chest. Does it have a name? What does it want to be called? Yuki smiled. It likes the name you've been thinking about, Prometheus, the one who brought fire to humanity. It wants to be called Prometheus Rising. Then that's its name, Sarah declared. The celebration was short-lived. 2 days later, they received a transmission from deep space. It was the Krevthar Empire, the aliens who built the ship. The message was clear and threatening. Primitive species detected aboard Imperial vessel. You have violated salvage law. Return the Sarketh's vengeance or face consequences. You have 30 solar cycles to comply. Marcus looked at Sarah. What do we do? Sarah looked at the ship they had saved. The ship that was now something new and unique. We refuse, she said quietly. This ship was dying. They left it to die. We saved it. It's ours now. They'll send warships, Marcus warned. Then we'll be ready, Sarah replied. She touched a wall panel. The ship's lights brightened in response. We have 30 days to finish what we started. Prometheus Rising isn't just repaired anymore. We need to make it into something the aliens have never seen. We need to make it invincible. The diplomatic meetings were a disaster. Earth's representatives tried to negotiate with the Krevthar Empire. They offered compensation, technology trades, even shared research. The aliens refused every offer. You do not understand, the Krevthar ambassador said coldly through the video link. His face was angular and sharp with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. The Sarketh's vengeance is imperial property. Your possession of it is theft. Return it or our fleet will take it by force. There will be no further discussion. The transmission ended. Sarah stood in the command center of the Prometheus Rising, watching the replay. They're not interested in talking, she said. No, Marcus agreed. They're interested in showing strength. We embarrassed them by claiming their abandoned ship. Now they need to prove they're still superior. How long until their fleet arrives? Sarah asked. 23 days, Marcus replied. Intelligence suggests 5 warships, each one more advanced than anything in our conventional fleet. Sarah felt the weight of those words. Earth's military had impressive ships for fighting other humans. Against alien technology, they would last minutes at best. The Prometheus Rising was humanity's only real weapon. 1 ship against 5. We can't win, she said quietly. Not in a fair fight, Marcus agreed. So we don't fight fair. Over the next 3 weeks, the Prometheus Rising underwent a transformation. Sarah's team worked 20-hour days, sleeping in shifts on cots scattered throughout the ship. Every moment counted. Raj solved the power problem first. The exotic matter core is stable now, he explained to the assembled team. But we're feeding it from multiple sources, alien and human power systems. What if we could switch between them instantly, or combine them in unexpected ways? What would that accomplish? Someone asked. Unpredictability, Raj said with a grin. The Krevthar computers will scan our power signature and make calculations based on it. If we can change that signature mid-battle, their targeting solutions become worthless. They'll have to recalculate constantly. Sarah loved it. Do it, what else? Marcus stepped forward with a tactical display. The Krevthar fight in formations, precise coordinated attacks. Their ships communicate constantly, adjusting their positions in real time. It's beautiful to watch, and it's predictable. How do we use that? Sarah asked. We introduce chaos, Marcus said. He pulled up schematics of the Prometheus. The ship has modular armor sections. What if we could detach them during combat, turn them into remote-controlled drones? That's wasteful, someone objected. Those armor plates are expensive. The Krevthar will think the same thing, Marcus replied. They'll see jettisoned armor as damage, as debris. They won't expect it to suddenly attack them. It violates their entire concept of resource management. Sarah considered it. The idea was wild, wasteful, and completely human. Yes, build it. Yuki had been working with Prometheus's AI constantly. I need to show you something, she said one evening. She led Sarah to a quiet corner of the ship where display screens covered every wall. What am I looking at? Sarah asked. Krevthar tactical databases, Yuki replied. Prometheus still has access to their military networks. I've been studying their combat patterns. Every battle they fought for the last century. And they're perfect, Yuki said. Every formation is flawless. Every attack is optimized. Their computers calculate thousands of variables in microseconds. They literally cannot make mistakes. That sounds terrifying, Sarah admitted. It should be, Yuki agreed. But here's the thing. They can't handle chaos. Their computers are built to find optimal solutions. When faced with something random, something that doesn't follow logical patterns, they freeze for microseconds while recalculating. Microseconds we can exploit, Sarah understood. You want to teach Prometheus to be random. I want to teach it to be human, Yuki corrected. Intuition, gut feelings, improvisation, all the things that make us unpredictable. We merge that with alien precision. Create something that can think both ways. Can you do it in 20 days? Sarah asked. Yuki smiled. Already done. Prometheus and I have been talking. It understands human thinking now. It's excited to try. The weapon systems required the most work. The ship's original armaments were powerful but straightforward. Energy cannons that fired in precise patterns. Sarah's team completely restructured the weapon grid. We keep the alien weapons, she told the weapons team. But we add layers. Human railguns for kinetic strikes. Missile pods for fire-and-forget attacks. Point defense lasers adapted from our own designs. The Krevthar will scan us and see their own weapons. They won't be prepared for the surprises underneath. They installed something else, something experimental. Raj called it a chaos field generator. It used feedback loops from the hybrid power system to create random interference patterns. It would disrupt sensors, confuse targeting computers, and generally make life difficult for any ship trying to track them. It's unstable, Raj warned. The field fluctuates randomly. Sometimes it's strong, sometimes weak. I can't control it. That's perfect, Sarah said. The Krevthar expect predictability. We'll give them chaos. The fighter bay was Marcus's personal project. The Prometheus Rising was enormous. With interior space the aliens had left mostly empty. Marcus filled it with human fighter craft. Dozens of small, fast ships that could launch from concealed hangar doors. The Krevthar don't use fighters, he explained. They consider small craft inefficient. Their warships handle everything. They've never faced a carrier doctrine. Will our fighters even damage their ships? Sarah asked. Maybe not individually, Marcus admitted. But 50 fighters swarming a target, attacking from every angle? That's not a problem the Krevthar computers are designed to solve. Their ships are built to fight other capital ships in formation, not swarms. Sarah walked through the Prometheus late one night, unable to sleep. The ship felt different now. It wasn't just repaired, it was reborn. Human and alien technology woven together in ways neither species would have considered. It was messy and inelegant and powerful. Are you scared? She asked the empty corridor. Lights flickered in response. Prometheus couldn't speak to her directly, not the way it did with Yuki, but it could communicate in simple ways. The lights pulsed once. Yes, me too, Sarah admitted. We're facing an entire fleet with one ship. The smart thing would be to surrender. The lights pulsed twice, no. Sarah smiled. I agree. This is your home now. These are your people. We don't give up, family. The lights brightened, warm and steady. Sarah felt something she couldn't quite explain. The ship trusted them. After being abandoned by its creators, it had found a new crew, a new purpose. The last days passed in a blur. Final tests, system checks, contingency planning. Earth's conventional fleet moved into position, ready to support the Prometheus even though everyone knew they couldn't really help. On the final day, Sarah gathered the entire crew in the main hangar. 300 people who had worked miracles. Engineers, soldiers, scientists, technicians. All of them volunteers. All of them ready. The Krevthar fleet will be here in 6 hours, Sarah said. Her voice echoed in the vast space. They're coming to take back a ship they consider property. A broken tool they threw away. But they're wrong. She gestured to the ship around them. This isn't the Sarketh's vengeance anymore. That ship died when they abandoned it. What we built is something new. Prometheus Rising. A ship that refused to quit. A ship that chose to fight. A ship that chose us. We're outmatched, she continued. They have 5 warships to our 1. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. By every logical calculation, we should lose. But logic isn't everything. We have something they don't. What's that? Someone called out. Sarah smiled. We know how to make trash into treasure. We know how to take something broken and make it stronger. We know how to fight when we shouldn't be able to win. That's the human way, the crew cheered. It wasn't a victory cheer. It was defiance. A declaration that they would face impossible odds and fight anyway. Marcus approached Sarah after the speech. That was inspiring. Do you actually think we can win? Sarah looked at him honestly. I think we have a chance. A small one. But we've done impossible things before. Why stop now? That's not exactly confidence, Marcus observed. No, Sarah agreed. But it's hope. And sometimes that's enough. The Krevthar fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel exactly on schedule. 5 massive warships, each one gleaming and perfect. They moved in formation as precise as clockwork. Beautiful and terrifying. Admiral Threknor's face appeared on every screen. He had commanded the Sarketh's vengeance before its failure. This was personal for him. Human vessels, he said coldly. This is your final warning. Return our property or be destroyed. You have one of your hours to comply. Sarah stood on the bridge of the Prometheus Rising. Her crew waited for her orders. She thought about the impossible ship they had saved. The alien technology merged with human ingenuity, the AI that had learned to be both precise and chaotic. She opened a channel. Admiral Threknor, this is Dr. Sarah Chen of the Prometheus Rising. Your property is no longer your property. You abandoned it. We claimed it. We fixed it. It's ours now. Silence for a moment. Then Threknor's voice came back, filled with rage. You dared defile Imperial technology. You primitive creatures have contaminated our ship with your inferior systems. The first shots came from the Krevthar fleet. 5 warships fired simultaneously, their energy weapons painting space with deadly light. The beams were perfectly coordinated, designed to overwhelm the Prometheus's shields in a single strike. Evasive, Marcus shouted. The Prometheus moved. Not smoothly like a Krevthar ship would, but in a sudden burst of acceleration that defied prediction. The alien weapons missed by meters. The ship's hybrid AI had calculated a dodge pattern based on human instinct, rather than logical efficiency. Return fire, Sarah ordered. The alien energy cannons fired first, bright and powerful. But underneath them, human railguns launched tungsten rods at incredible speeds. The Krevthar shields, calibrated for energy weapons, barely registered the kinetic projectiles until they hit. One alien ship shuddered from the impact. Its shields flickered. They're confused, Yuki reported, watching data scroll across her screens. Their computers expected pure energy attacks. The kinetic weapons don't fit their defensive calculations. Good, Marcus said grimly. Launch fighters. All wings. Hangar doors opened along the Prometheus's hull. Dozens of small human fighters poured out like angry insects. They swarmed toward the Krevthar formation, moving in chaotic patterns no computer could predict. Admiral Threknor's voice crackled over the comm. What are these insects? They are too small to be effective. This is inefficient. That's the point, Sarah muttered. The fighters reached the alien fleet. Individually, their weapons couldn't penetrate Krevthar shields. But 50 fighters attacking one target from every angle created a problem the aliens had never encountered. Their point defense systems fired at the nearest threats, but there were too many targets. The swarm overwhelmed their calculations. Their formation is breaking, Marcus observed. They're trying to adjust for the fighters. Activate Chaos Field, Sarah ordered. Raj's experimental generator came online. Immediately, the space around the Prometheus filled with random interference patterns. Sensors flickered. Targeting computers struggled to lock on. The field pulsed irregularly, sometimes strong, sometimes weak, impossible to predict. Their lead ship is firing blind, Yuki called out. They can't get a clean lock through the interference. The Prometheus dove toward the Krevthar formation. Sarah's crew had spent weeks studying alien tactics. The Krevthar fought in precise patterns, each ship supporting the others. Break the pattern, break the formation. Target the second ship, Marcus directed. Full weapons spread. The Prometheus unleashed everything. Alien energy cannons and human railguns fired together. Missiles launched from newly installed pods streaking toward their target. The mixed attack created overlapping problems the Krevthar shields couldn't efficiently counter. The second ship's shields collapsed. Human fighters swarmed through the gap, their smaller weapons finding vulnerable points. Explosions rippled across the alien hull. One ship heavily damaged, Raj reported. But we took hits too. Forward shields at 60%. Sarah watched the tactical display. The battle was going better than expected, but they were still outnumbered. The Krevthar were adapting, their computers recalculating based on new data. They wouldn't stay confused forever. We need something they can't adapt to, she said. I have an idea, Marcus replied. It's crazy. Those are my favorite kind, Sarah said. Marcus grinned. We jettison the damaged armor sections, right at their faces. That's suicidal, someone objected. We lose armor, we become more vulnerable. Unless they think it's debris and ignore it, Marcus countered. He typed commands rapidly. The armor sections have remote guidance systems. We make them look like battle damage, drifting debris. Then we turn them into missiles. Sarah understood immediately. The Krevthar will see wasted resources. They'll dismiss it as human incompetence. Then we surprise them. Exactly, Marcus said. Do it, Sarah ordered. Armor plates detached from the Prometheus's hull with explosive charges. They tumbled through space looking for all the world like pieces torn off by weapon fire. The Krevthar fleet ignored them, focusing on the main ship. Now, Marcus whispered. The debris suddenly activated. Maneuvering thrusters fired. The armor sections, now guided missiles, accelerated toward the nearest Krevthar ship. The aliens had seconds to react. Not enough time. The impacts weren't devastating by themselves, but they hit in perfect sequence, targeting the same section of shield repeatedly. The third armor section punched through, slamming into the alien hull. Secondary explosions rippled outward. Second ship destroyed, Raj shouted. Admiral Threknor's face appeared on screen again. His 4 eyes were wide with something that might have been shock. You sacrifice your own armor? You fight like savages. We fight to win, Sarah replied calmly. There's a difference. The remaining 3 Krevthar ships changed tactics. They spread out, breaking their tight formation. It was an admission that their standard doctrine wasn't working. They were adapting. That was dangerous. They're going to try to surround us, Marcus predicted. Let them, Sarah said. Prometheus, are you ready? The ship's lights pulsed. Ready. Yuki's hybrid AI had been learning throughout the battle. It understood now what Sarah meant by human unpredictability. The ship could think like the Krevthar, calculating optimal solutions. But it could also think like a human, making intuitive leaps that defied logic. The Prometheus suddenly changed its power signature. The exotic matter core shifted from alien energy to human nuclear power. The transition took microseconds. The Krevthar targeting computers, locked onto one energy signature, suddenly lost their target. In those microseconds, the Prometheus moved. It appeared behind the third Krevthar ship, impossibly fast. At point-blank range, every weapon fired at once. The alien shields, designed for long-range combat, couldn't handle the concentrated barrage. The ship's engines exploded. It drifted dead in space. 3 down, Marcus said. 2 to go. But the victory was costly. Alarms blared across the Prometheus. Hull breaches on decks 7 through 12, Raj reported. Shields failing. We can't take much more. Sarah looked at the tactical display. 2 Krevthar warships remained, including Admiral Threknor's flagship. Even damaged, the Prometheus had no chance against both of them in a sustained fight. We need to end this quickly, she said. How? Marcus asked. Sarah thought about everything they had done. Taking alien perfection and adding human chaos. Making the impossible work through sheer stubborn determination. They had one advantage left. One thing the Krevthar would never expect. Ramming speed, she said quietly. The bridge went silent. Everyone stared at her. You can't be serious, someone whispered. Not a real ram, Sarah clarified. A feint. We make them think we're desperate enough to suicide. Make them believe we're going for a collision. At the last second, we shift. They'll have seconds to react, Marcus warned. I know, Sarah said, but we'll have the same seconds to exploit. Prometheus, can you calculate that kind of precision? The lights pulsed once. Yes, it's risky, Yuki said. If we miscalculate by even a fraction. We're dead anyway if we keep fighting conventionally, Sarah replied. We need a big move. Something insane. Something human. Marcus nodded slowly. All power to engines. Straight line toward the flagship. The Prometheus surged forward. Every engine fired at maximum. The ship accelerated directly toward Admiral Threknor's vessel. It looked like a desperation move, a final suicide attack from a beaten enemy. They're targeting us, Raj said tensely. Every weapon they have. Hold course, Sarah ordered. Energy beams lanced through space. The Prometheus's shields flared and failed. Hull plating burned away. The ship shuddered from impacts. Alarm screamed. But it kept coming. Distance closing, Marcus called out. 3,000 meters. 2,000. Admiral Threknor is moving to intercept, Yuki reported. He thinks we're actually going to ram him. 1,000 meters. The flagship filled their view screen, growing larger every second. Sarah could see individual weapon ports, could see the alien hull glowing with heat. 500 meters, Marcus said. His voice was steady, but his knuckles were white on his console. Now, Sarah shouted. The Prometheus twisted. Every thruster fired at once, pushing the ship into a violent spin. It passed within meters of the flagship's hull, so close they could have touched it. But instead of colliding, instead of destroying itself, the Prometheus opened fire at point-blank range. Every weapon, every missile, every bit of power they had left, poured into the flagship at a range measured in meters. The Krevthar shields couldn't stop it. Nothing could stop that much concentrated firepower at that range. The flagship's hull ruptured. Explosions walked across its length. Their core is breaching, Raj shouted. The flagship exploded. The blast wave caught the Prometheus, already damaged and vulnerable. The ship tumbled through space, systems failing, lights flickering. Sarah pulled herself up from where she had fallen. Smoke filled the bridge. Half the screens were dark. Status report. We're alive, Raj said in disbelief. Barely, but alive. The last Krevthar ship? Marcus asked, blood running down his face from a cut. Retreating, Yuki reported. They've had enough. Sarah sagged in her chair. They had done it. Against impossible odds, outgunned and outnumbered, they had won. Not because they were superior, but because they refused to accept that victory was impossible. The silence after battle was strange. Sarah sat on the damaged bridge of the Prometheus rising, listening to the emergency systems beep and whir. Around her, the crew worked to patch critical systems. They had won, but victory felt fragile. Incoming transmission, Yuki said. Her voice was hoarse from smoke inhalation. It's the last Krevthar ship. Sarah straightened. On screen, a Krevthar officer appeared. Not Admiral Threknor, who had died with his flagship. This one looked younger, his four eyes showing an emotion Sarah couldn't quite read. Human vessel, the alien said. I am Subcommander Veklar. We are withdrawing. You have won this engagement. We don't want more fighting, Sarah replied carefully. We just wanted to keep what we saved. Veklar was quiet for a moment. We received telemetry from the flagship before it was destroyed. We saw what you did, how you fought. The Empire will want to study this battle for years. Will they come back? Marcus asked bluntly. I do not know, Veklar admitted. But if they do, they will come prepared. You have shown us something we did not believe possible. Inferior technology defeating superior through, I do not know your word for it. Adaptability, chaos, whatever it is terrifying. The transmission ended. The Krevthar ship opened a faster-than-light window and disappeared. Is it really over? Someone asked quietly. For now, Sarah said. She looked around the damaged bridge. Get me a full damage report. Then get me the casualty list. The numbers were painful. The Prometheus Rising had taken severe damage. 17 crew members dead. 43 injured. Entire sections of the ship were exposed to vacuum. The exotic matter core was barely functioning. They had won, but the cost was high. Sarah walked through the ship over the next few days, visiting every section. She saw the damage, the makeshift repairs, the exhausted faces of her crew. She also saw something else. Pride. They had faced impossible odds and survived. They had proven something important. On the third day, she stood in the reactor room. The exotic matter core pulsed weakly, struggling to maintain power. The human nuclear generators had burned out during the battle. Everything was held together with temporary fixes and hope. Can we save it? She asked Raj. He looked at the core, then at her. The core itself will survive. But the battle, Sarah, we pushed everything past its limits. The hybrid systems we built, they worked perfectly. Maybe too perfectly. We melted connections, fried circuits, overloaded systems that were never designed to handle that much stress. Can we rebuild? We can, Raj said. But it will take time, and we'll never be able to replicate what we did in the battle. That maneuver with the core switching power signatures mid-flight? We burned out the switching mechanisms. It was a one-time miracle. Sarah touched the core housing. It felt warm. Was it worth it? We're alive, Raj said simply. Earth is safe. Yes, it was worth it. The political aftermath was complicated. Every nation on Earth suddenly wanted credit for the victory. Everyone wanted access to the Prometheus Rising. The arguments were fierce and probably would continue for years. Sarah ignored most of it. She focused on her ship and her crew. They had earned rest. 6 weeks after the battle, they received an unexpected visitor. Admiral Threknor had been killed, but another Krevthar officer requested permission to board. Sarah almost refused, but curiosity won. The Krevthar who came aboard was old, his angular features marked with scars. He introduced himself as Master Engineer Thakram. He asked to see the reactor room. Sarah led him there personally with Marcus and security close behind. Thakram stared at the hybrid power systems, at the mix of alien precision and human improvisation. He walked around the core slowly, examining every detail. Barbaric, he said finally. Sarah bristled. It worked. Yes, Thakram agreed. That is what disturbs me. You took perfection and made it better through imperfection. This should not be possible. Yet here it stands, he turned to face her. I was part of the team that designed the Sarketh's vengeance. When the core failed, we declared it irreparable. The corruption was too deep. The damage too extensive. By every calculation, the ship was dead. But we fixed it, Sarah said. You did more than fix it, Thakram replied. You transformed it. We build our ships to exact specifications. Every system isolated, every function predetermined. It is efficient. It is perfect. But when something goes wrong, when something unexpected happens, we have no way to adapt. He gestured at the makeshift repairs, the hybrid systems, the organized chaos of human engineering. You build for survival. You expect things to break and plan for it. You create redundancies and backups. You improvise. It is messy and inelegant, but it is effective. Why are you here? Marcus asked suspiciously. Thakram looked at him. To learn. The Krevthar Empire is ancient and powerful. We have conquered systems and built wonders. But we have not evolved in millennia. We have perfected our ways and stopped questioning them. You humans, you are young and weak. But you think differently. That difference defeated our fleet. He pulled out a small device. This contains schematics of Krevthar technology. Weapons, shields, faster than light drives. Everything you would need to understand our ships. I am giving it to you, Sarah stared. Why? Because the galaxy needs diversity, Thakram said. The Krevthar Empire is not evil, but we are stagnant. Other species have grown to copy our methods, our thinking. Everyone builds the same way now. But you humans, you build differently. That difference is valuable. Perhaps necessary. He paused. Also, I am old and curious. I want to see what you do with our technology. What chaos you will create. It will be interesting. Thakram left as mysteriously as he came. The device he gave them contained decades' worth of advancement. Earth's engineers and scientists began the long process of studying and adapting it, always with the human touch, always looking for ways to make perfection a little more survivable. 3 months after the battle, the Prometheus Rising was officially retired from active service. The damage was too extensive for full repairs. But it wasn't abandoned. Instead, it became a museum and a training center. Every engineer and officer in Earth's growing space fleet visited it. They walked its corridors, studied its systems, learned the lessons it taught. Sarah gave tours sometimes. She enjoyed showing young cadets the hybrid reactor, the mismatched weapon systems, the evidence of desperate improvisation that had saved their world. This ship was trash, she would tell them. The aliens built it perfectly, and when it broke, they threw it away. We took their trash and made it invincible, not because we were smarter or more advanced, but because we refused to give up. Because we saw value where they saw waste. Because we were willing to try things that shouldn't work. The cadets always asked the same question. Would you do it again? Sarah would smile. Every time, the Prometheus Rising inspired a new generation of ships. Humanity's fleet grew, each vessel incorporating lessons learned from the battle. They blended alien technology with human innovation. They built for adaptability rather than perfection. They expected problems and planned for chaos. Other alien species began to notice. Some approached Earth for trade and technology sharing. Others maintained distance, wary of the species that had defeated the Krevthar. A few even began adopting human engineering principles, adding redundancies and improvisation to their own designs. Sarah became the director of Earth's Xenotechnology Integration Program. Her job was to study alien technology and figure out how to make it work better. She loved it. Every day brought new challenges, new impossibilities to make possible. Marcus became Earth's first ambassador to the Krevthar Empire. His time commanding the Prometheus during battle had earned him respect among the aliens. He worked to build bridges between species, to create understanding where there had been conflict. Raj won every scientific prize Earth could offer for his work on hybrid power systems. He used the fame to push for more experimental research. "We should always try things that shouldn't work," he said in interviews. "That's how we'll find what does." Yuki continued working with artificial intelligence, creating hybrid systems that thought in multiple paradigms. Her work led to a new generation of AI that was both logical and intuitive. She always said the Prometheus taught her the most important lesson. Different ways of thinking weren't weaknesses. They were strengths. 5 years after the battle, Sarah stood in the observation deck of humanity's first fully independent starship. The vessel used Krevthar faster-than-light technology, combined with human design principles. It was preparing for its maiden voyage beyond the solar system. Through the window, she could see the Prometheus rising in the distance, now a permanent fixture in Earth orbit. Scarred and battered, but undefeated. A reminder of what was possible when people refused to accept limits. "Ready for departure," the captain announced. Sarah nodded. This new ship bore a name chosen by popular vote. The people of Earth had decided quickly. They called it the Indomitable Spirit. As the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, Sarah thought about a broken alien vessel that had taught humanity its greatest lesson. The galaxy was full of species that had achieved perfection in their own ways. But perfection was fragile. Adaptability was forever. The aliens had built a warship and abandoned it when it failed. Humans had found it and made it invincible.